Hello everybody, this is Kyrix, and I want to give a quick update about my channel. It's been a while since I have really been putting any regular content up. There's still some stuff rolling in, I believe, from last year that was uploaded well in advance. But regular content has dropped off pretty much entirely. I had honestly figured that by this point I would have either replaced my computer or salvaged the things from the old one. And things keep happening. I keep job hunting, etc. And it's just I just haven't gotten anything of note accomplished. I've gotten rather far into Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. I'm still recording that actively, but I obviously haven't put anything up yet. And I'm sitting here thinking that it's time I roll out a little something that I've been teasing in my mind for the past year or so. I'm going to start 2 new segments that will be updated periodically. I won't set it in stone when they'll come up. They'll happen when they happen. But this is a way to get fresh content on my channel in quick little bites. I'm going to roll out 2 segments that I call Blast from the Past and Nostalgia Trip. And both of these pertain to the same thing with slight differences, that being retro games from the 8 and 16-bit era. We're talking Nintendo, possibly Master System, Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo. And not necessarily the originals. Like if I have, for the Sega Genesis, I own the Sega Collection on the PS3, so I'll be playing that as opposed to an emulator in a lot of cases. And what separates these two is Blast from the Past will be any game that I've never played. That's an old thing, like you'll see things. I want to do Toe Jam and Earl. That was a game that I never played growing up. That was something I heard a lot about because I was a Nintendo kid, and that's a Sega game. So I hear about Toe Jam and Earl, but I know nothing about it. I know it had a sequel. I know what the characters look like, and that's it. I don't know if it's a platformer, a puzzle game, a beat 'em up. Well, I'm sure it's not a beat 'em up, but fuck, it could be. But that would fall under Blast from the Past, games that I've never played. Then you have Nostalgia Trip, which is games that I did play in my childhood. For example, when I became an adult and got the internet, I would play Echo the Dolphin. That would be a Blast from the Past game instead of a Nostalgia Trip, because I never grew up with Echo. And that's basically what it's going to be. I'm going to get games, and I will play them. And some of them will be little one-shots that'll be like an hour long, play till I get a game over kind of thing. And some will be dedicated, I will beat this game. So Echo is probably going to be one of those. So you might get Blast from the Past, Echo the Dolphin, Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 3, etc. I will have them in a dedicated Blast from the Past and Nostalgia Trip playlist. And if it becomes a small Let's Play unto itself, and I emphasize small because these games don't... if there isn't a lot of grinding, they don't last long. Hell, I think Crusader Ascenti was a reasonably long game, and I think I did that in like a dozen episodes or less. So you'd be looking at that, basically. But this will give me a chance to work through some of my library, work through some games that I played as a kid, some games I wish I played as a kid, and put out some fucking content. I'm actually sitting on somewhere between 4 and 10 episodes of This Week in Kyrix that I have recorded and just never got out my ass and uploaded. And those will eventually hit the internet, but I want to get these started up. I want to get some of these, and I might throw in some Game Boy and possibly Game Gear games as well. When I say Game Boy, I mean Game Boy and Game Boy Color. Pokemon will not count because, quite frankly, I was in high school when that came out, so that's not really... I don't consider that my childhood, But it'll give me something fresh to upload. It's not that difficult. And it could turn into big stuff, because some of these are RPGs. you know. But we're gonna call it there. Hope you enjoy it. Bye bye, everybody.